there hasn't been an issue with channeling private capital in the sector, because we've seen that across kind of the stage. We've seen it across, we've seen people make, multi-billion-dollar investments. We've seen people make small investments. We've seen it across these sectors. And in my experience, I've never really seen a huge issue, for the capital to be there. If the projects are good, the returns are there, they're structured properly, the capitals come. What I think has been a key part of these discussions is that how do these investment opportunities get created? And that, I think, is really a function of policy. Because if you really look at, and if you analyze all the companies that have been successful here, all the projects that have been successful here, they are dependent on public policy. So in Europe, obviously, you have feed-in tariffs, which, in my view, worked very well. They served the purpose. In the US, you have investment that's driven by a combination of tax credits as well as what they call renewable portfolio standards. In China, you've got pretty much more of a top-down approach. But you've also, and in Japan, obviously, you've got feed-in tariffs and other tax benefits. But it's important to note that these opportunities come because there is a policy in place, there is a regime in place to make these projects viable. And so, a key part of the discussions over at this conference is, around the role of public policy, and I think it's critical. I'll make one other comment, in terms of what we've seen, and what is very interesting is that as a result of policy, the industry's grown tremendously. So if you look at the scale of renewable energy investments today versus 5-6 years ago, the difference is staggering. And in many countries, the bulk of the new generation capacity that gets built is some form of renewable energy. And if you really look at what policy has done, it's really brought the cost down of many of these sources of renewable energy. And I'll illustrate that with one example. We got involved with solar in 2005. It would cost about, call it $6 million to build a 1 megawatt project. Today, you can build that for less than $1.5 million. So just look at the kind of the cost reduction that's been brought about. And why is this being brought about? Because there were policies in place that enabled the industry to scale up. And you could argue that we need more of that across different technologies, across different, or across the renewable energy spectrum to enable that. And the interesting thing today is that for the first time, we are seeing investment opportunities that for the very first time are not dependent on these subsidies or on this, even on policy support. But it's very early days. I think we still need a lot more policy support to push this through.